All right. Good morning, everybody. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Carey. I'm the Director of Agent Services over in the Tampa Market Center. For those of you who are not from my office, I would be your equivalent of a Kevin or a Taylor. What we are going to talk about today are going to be the listing landing pages within Command. They are one of the coolest things that you've got. I know Tammy's super excited because she called me the other day and she asked me about this. I said, I'm teaching it on Friday. So what we are going to look at is actually how to create listing-based landing pages. A landing page, in short, is just a website that has specific information you want people to see on it. So I'm going to show you how to create those for your listings or for other agents' listings if you're newer and you're hosting open houses for them. And we're going to talk about how you can utilize this for signing in at open houses and follow-up. So it's a great tool. Before we dive into Command, I want to make sure that you know some expectations about how we're going to do class today. So even though it is on Zoom, we're going to do this classroom style. So if you have the ability to have your camera on, I'd love to see that. It's hard to teach to black boxes, especially if I can't see your face. I don't know if you're getting it. I don't know if you've got the confused face on, or you're nodding, or you're giving me the thumbs up that you understand. We don't care what you look like. We don't care if you just rolled out of bed. We're all in the same position, right? We're all doing the Zoom mullet, business on top, party on bottom, right? And by party, I mean pajamas. So if you can go ahead and put your camera on, that would be great. Also, we're going to run this like a regular classroom. In a regular classroom setting, if the instructor was talking, you wouldn't just start talking, right? You'd raise your hand. So we want to make sure you know how to raise your hand and ask questions, and we want to make sure that you are given attendance. So I'm going to run you through that real quick before we get started inside of the materials. So depending upon what platform you are watching this on, whether it's your phone or your computer, I'm sitting on my computer, so I'm going to walk you through it that way. You may have on your screen what looks like a Brady Bunch view or just me talking. You want to put your mouse at the bottom of that screen, and you're going to see a button that says chat. Go ahead and click that chat button. If you have not already done this, type your full name and your market center in that chat box so that we can give you attendance credit for being here. That lets us know you were here. For Tampa agents specifically, it counts towards your floor time requirements. Secondarily, we want to make sure you know how to raise your hand so that I know that you have questions while I'm teaching. It's going to be the same thing down at the bottom. You're going to move your mouse to the bottom of the window, and you're going to hit the participants button this time. When you hit participants, you're going to see a list of everyone who is here. And at the bottom of that list, you're going to see a raise hand button. When you do that, I will see that actually pop up and flag the same way that I will see the chat, and I'll know that you'll have a question and I'll be able to count on you. Now, this is participatory. So that means if I ask a question, I'm hoping for answers. If you have a question, I hope I have answers. So please make sure to ask them. Can't make sure you know what you're doing if we don't know where you're having issues. Because this is a Zoom setting and we aren't sitting next to each other and I can't come next to your computer and press a button, I need to make sure that I've got that feedback that you're getting it and you're ready to move on. So you're going to hear me ask several times, are we good? Do you get this? Is everybody good to move on? I'd love head nods, thumbs up. Even if you're not on camera, you can pop it into chat. I've got it, just so that we're ready to go and we know that everything's working out. Sound good to everybody? See, you follow directions. I've got head nods and thumbs up. That's great. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen. Now, remember with Zoom, what happens when someone shares their screen is that it automatically makes it full screen on your end. You have the option to exit full screen if you would like to follow along with me while I'm doing this. You just put your mouse up at the top of the screen, it'll hover for a second and then it'll pop up and you'll see a button that says exit full screen. So that'll let you have Command maybe open on one side and the Zoom screen open on the other so that you can click back and forth. Secondarily, this is being recorded. So this will be available as a recording for all of you to watch later. If you are not able to follow along right now, that's understandable, or you want to revisit it later. So I'm going to go ahead and go into Command. And now we're going to do that through Google Chrome. always Google Chrome. If you use a different browser, if you use something like Safari or Explorer, you're going to run into errors within Command. You're going to hit buttons and it's not going to go anywhere. You're going to see white spaces on your screen. So make sure that you're always working within Google Chrome. Now I'm in an incognito window. Basically what this means, if you're not a techie person necessarily, is that whenever you go to a website, the website saves data to your computer so that it opens faster next time. Because Command is updated so frequently, I'm using an incognito window. That means it doesn't save any of that data. So it may open a little slower, but it's going to be the most updated recent version of Command. So always make sure you're using Google Chrome, incognito if you can. And then we're just going to go to agent.kw.com and we're going to sign in. Now remember, you're signing in with your username, not a KW email. This is going to be the easiest, is everybody good so far, that I ask all day. Okay, so now we're inside of Command. Obviously, you're going to be on your dashboard. What we want to do is look for our landing pages area, since that's what we're going to focus on. And that's going to live inside of the area that says consumer. It's going to be the last clickable option on the left of your Command applets. If you hover over it, you'll see where it says consumer, or if you click this red KW box, you'll notice it expands the menu and you can see the full names of them. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on consumer. Now my screen, if you are following along on your computer, may look a little bit different than yours. Yours may be completely blank right here, and that's okay. Mine is not blank because I have already created and saved things in this system. If you've never created or saved anything in here, it may be completely blank, or you may only have one or two if that's all you've worked on. That's okay. Remember, we all use this system differently, so if yours looks different than mine, don't get too hung up on it. The nice thing about hitting consumer is it's immediately going to open the landing pages tab. This is also the area where you would update your agent website or information about your consumer app. So I'm going to give you a quick run through of what this dashboard looks like before we actually go into building the landing pages. So you'll see here a status column, a name column, URL, leads, date created, and these three little dots are menu. So status, we've got a green button and we've got a gray button. Anybody want to guess what those mean? Feel free to unmute yourself if you're talking. I can't hear you.
Green means on, like ready to go.
That's exactly it, Cassie. Green means go, gray means not go. I was trying to think of a stoplight adage, but there is none for gray. So green means go, that means it's on. That means when somebody clicks on the URL or the website address, they'll actually be taken to a website. If it is gray, you'll notice I can't click here. That means it's not working. I've turned it off. We'll have the name of it. I want you to pay close attention here. You'll see some that look like addresses and some that just say new landing page template. I'm going to show you how to rename your landing pages, because here's what we don't want to have. We don't want you doing open houses every weekend or creating listing landing pages every time you have a new listing and not knowing which one it is, right? So we want you to easily be able to go, oh, okay, here's my Tavistock landing page, so that you can easily open it up and share it. If everything said new landing page template with some random letters after it, you would be here all day. And we like an easy button and we like a time saver, so that's not going to work for you. This is a clickable link, remember? So this is what you can put in the body of an email, on Facebook, in a smart plan, which we'll talk about in a little bit more detail. You're going to have this leads column right here. Any guess what this is? And spoiler alert, it's in the title. Okay, so the leads column is going to be anybody who has put their information in using your landing page. So we're going to talk about how to actually utilize this for an open house sign in. So people can get right on your iPad or your laptop or your tablet and sign in with this website address. And all of their information is going to show up as a clickable link in leads so that we can do follow-up quickly. Date created is pretty self-explanatory, right? And then we're going to have this menu button here, which is going to let you edit the landing page. Maybe you've started it and you haven't completed it. You're going to come in here to menu and update your landing page to get it to where you need it to be. Change URL is going to allow you to make this just a little bit shorter. So I don't know if you can see on your screen where this is a lighter gray and this is a darker gray. Essentially, you can only update the dark gray. The reason for that is this is the standing information that comes from Keller Williams, pages.kw.com. You'll have your name here and your specific agent code. The reason that they allow you to edit just this is so that you could make it a little bit easier on the URL. Now we're going to talk about ways to make this even more effective, but all you can change here at the end is going to be 1234 Main Street, so to speak. You cannot change anything before this /. For most of you, this isn't going to make a huge difference. Everything's still going to function, just makes it a little shorter, a little cleaner. And then the last two pieces that you're going to see here are deactivate. Deactivate's going to make it gray. Remember, green means not go, or gray means not go, green means go. So if you hit deactivate, it turns it off. And then delete is what? Trash, right? It's gone. So that means it's gone, it's gotten rid of, it's no longer listed within your landing pages. Any questions so far before we actually go into building one? Awesome. Now I promise you, this is super easy. Once you do it a time or two, you're going to be able to knock this out in 5 minutes, and that's what we love. I call Command the 5-minute miracle. You can do everything in this system in 5 minutes as long as you go in and play with it a time or two. So we're going to go ahead and create our landing page now, and we're just going to look for this create a new site button in the top right. Remember, whenever you're working within Command, you're always going to be looking for a blue button. Sometimes it may just be a blue button with a plus sign in it, and sometimes it may be a blue button that says create or start new. So we're going to click create a new site, and we want to look for a standalone page. We do not want to put this on our agent site. It's an entirely different format, and it doesn't allow us to do the landing page as cleanly and easily, and we would have to worry about deleting it. So we're always going to go with a standalone page when we're creating a listing landing page. Another reason for that is, remember, your agent sites have nationwide IDX on them, which means you can search for this listing on your agent site. It'll show up. So we don't want it there twice, right? We just want it once when they find it in a search. And it can be a featured listing on that homepage. That's a separate class, but if you have questions, we can always help with that. So we're simply going to click as a standalone page and create page. All right, that's your website. It's super pretty, right? It's a big white box. So what we actually have to do is build this out now. So who has an active listing on this call right now that we can use as a guinea pig? Anybody? Or is anybody doing an open house this weekend for a listing that we can do as a guinea pig? Jody's got her hands up. Jody, go ahead and tell me the address of the property that we're looking for.
I had to unmute. I'm sorry. It's 31812 Crosswoods Way in Wesley Chapel.
Crosswoods Way. All right. So you'll notice I started typing that up here in the top left corner. This is the name of the landing page. You want to make sure that you update this area right here, or remember, it's going to give you that option that says new landing page template with that funky code at the end. So always make sure that you are updating the name of the landing page over here in the top left. Now, what we actually have to do is tell this landing page the information that we want on it. Because remember, a landing page is simply a website. In short, it's just a website that has specific information that you want people to see. A landing page can be outside of real estate, right? It doesn't have to be real estate related. It could be a website that has pictures of specific shoes or photo blogging, things like that. So we want to put the information that we want our consumers to see here, which is why they give you this big white blank template, because they don't know yet what you want on it. And not every landing page will have the same content. We're going to put the content on there through things called widgets, which are going to show up over here on the right. So they give you 10 different widgets that you can select from. Agent branding or branded header. Don't worry, I'm going to show these to you. A lead form, which is going to become very important when we start talking about sign-in. Legal footer, so that we're always following the law with real estate. The listing information in MarketSnap. Local expert, which is going to be information about you. Testimonial capture, which is not going to be as important for open houses, and you know it's an option going forward. A video, think, tour, Matterport, that kind of thing you can actually put right on here, and an area to download your personalized mobile app. So you can use one or all of these. I don't necessarily recommend using all of them, right? We don't necessarily need a testimonial capture on an open house listing landing page, right? And you have that option. Here's the cool part. It's super easy to use. You simply hover over the widget that you want to use, and you're going to get a 4-way directional arrow. I don't know if you can see that, depending upon how large your screen is. It's a little white 4-way directional arrow on a white background. Very, very simple. Simply click down on it and drag it over. Now you'll notice as I drag it, I've got a green line that shows up on that white box. As long as you see that green line, you can just let go of your mouse and it shows right up. It automatically inserts it right onto your landing page. Don't worry, I'm going to show you that again with some of the other widgets. Now you'll notice mine is showing up branded. Any guesses on why mine is branded if you've gone through any kind of command setup classes?
Because it's pulling from the information that we put based on us.
Put the information in where? Because you're like 98% there, Cassie. You're real close.
In Connect.
In the marketing profile. I know exactly what you're thinking of. Yep. So inside of your settings in your marketing profile, the more information you have in there, the more will auto-populate on things like your website, your landing pages, your consumer app. So because my marketing profile is complete, my information, my phone number and email address all come over with this widget. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes. Hi, this is Jeanette. It does, and it all comes over, but a whole lot comes over in a big black box. It doesn't look anything like yours.
A black box comes over and you dragged the branded header?
Yeah, agent branding. You want me to show it to you from my phone?
Jeanette, I used branded header. I didn't do the agent branded box.
Thank you. Thank you. I will trash that.
If I drag agent branding over just to see what it looks like, I will get a gray box.
Yep, it looks just like yours now. Thank you.
You're welcome. So and that's actually a perfect example, which I would have shown you later, but Jeanette gave me a perfect segue. If you put something on your landing page that you don't necessarily want there, notice how I have clicked on it and I get these little menu items that show up. One, the arrow moves it up, meaning maybe I want this at the top of my landing page so that it shows, and I'm moving things all over the place now, and we're having fun. You start moving things around and it goes crazy. All right, which is fine. Weird things happen. I'm okay with that. You click on it. This allows you to click and drag it, see the green lines. You can see it here. You kind of see it at the bottom. When you click and drag, just like the widget, it's that 4-way arrow. This is your duplicate button, meaning maybe you want to feature 2 listings on there. You could, and the ever-present trash can icon, right? That gets rid of it. I'm actually going to go back out because it looks like it's just being a little strange now, which is my favorite thing, and that's okay. I'm going to just do it again. Sometimes that agent branding, Jeanette, sometimes that's where we see some of the pickles pop up. So I always use the branded header. I also use the branded header because it doesn't take up a significant amount of space at the top. right? We want
It's
them to
much
get to
cleaner.
the content that they want to see quickly. So I dragged branded header back over, and now we're going to look at some of the other options in here. Now we are doing a listing based landing page. So what do you think I need? The listing widget, right? So we're going to click and drag it over. I've got my green line here, which means I'm good to drop. And now you'll see here it puts a placeholder in. Now we know that the open house that Jody is holding is on Crosswoods Way. It's not on Hilltop View, and I don't think it's in Austin, Texas. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is a placeholder. When you click and drag some of these widgets over, they are not going to automatically populate with your listing information or the neighborhood. That's okay. We're going to configure and customize that a little bit later. We have to get the landing page to look how we want it before we put the data in that we want. Make sense? Okay. So you'll see what this looks like. You have all the information about the property. Where is this coming from? The about information, the photos, the details and features.
MLS.
MLS, Cassie, you're nailing it today. So we scroll down to the bottom and you'll see everything that shows up about the listing. I'm not going to have to write any of this in. The MLS is going to do it for me. Remember, command is your easy button. It's amazing that way. My next thing that I think is super important on a listing-based landing page is going to be this market snap. Now, for those of you who are newer, you may not be familiar with what the market snap is. You may not have used Kelly for that or used command for that before, whether it be through a design or something direct via text message. It's very, very cool and super, super valuable. So I'm just going to click and drag my market snap over, and I'm just going to put it under my listing. And you'll see it pops up here. Obviously, remember, Barton Hills, Austin, Texas. This is a template, so we'll customize this later. But this is what shows up on the market snap, all of the current statistics and data about a specified neighborhood. So is that valuable to people looking in a neighborhood at an open house? They're in that neighborhood for a reason, right? So they want to know what's going on in that neighborhood. I'm going to drag my local expert over, and I'm just going to put it at the bottom. This is where my branding comes in. So you'll see my name, my information, my bio, my contact, even a link to download my custom mobile app, so that when I share this page, whether it be to someone, text, email, social media, because remember, it's a website that they can click on, this will be a link that they can click on that will download the consumer app to their phone with my name on it already. So I won't have to do any extra work there. You want to make sure that you are putting the legal footer on anything. Anytime you see legal, you should know it belongs, right? So we're going to click and drag the legal footer down. And this is where it'll have some social media links if you have that in your marketing profile, as well as your brokerage information. That's a FREC requirement. We do have to have the brokerage information on all of our marketing, whether it be digital or it be print. And this verbiage here is incredibly important. Each Keller Williams office is independently owned and operated. Remember, each office is its own franchise, so we have to denote that to the public. So we want to make sure we always have our legal footer on here so that we are staying within the guidelines of FREC and of KWRI. Now, there are other ones that you can see in here. Like I said, the testimonial. We're not going to do that one today because we don't necessarily need a testimonial when we're doing open houses. If you use the local expert option, you already have the link to download the mobile app. So you don't need a special link or widget for the mobile app. We don't have a video. Jody, I'm going to guess that you probably don't have a video copy of a virtual tour. Is that correct?
No, I don't.
All right. Best guess, right? We knew that already. And if she had one, we could absolutely slide a video right in. I'm just going to show you what it looks like. Slot a video right in here so that it would walk them through a Matterport or a virtual tour if we were to share this on Facebook. So once you have it set up how you want it, whether you need to add or delete or remove, you just want to make sure you've got everything set up. Now I'm going to take video out because remember, I don't have a video. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to delete it. And here's why it's important to make sure that you have this set up how you want it first. Cassie, I see your hand. Give me just a second. You want to make sure that you have this set up and looking how you want it with all of your widgets in the places that you want them, in the order that you want them, and any widgets that need to be included are on this page. Once we customize the widgets, we cannot delete them or move them. So you want to make sure that you have this order the way that it needs to be. Does that make sense? So we've got widgets 1 through 5. We decide we don't want 4. We delete 4 before we customize them. Cassie, go ahead, and then Jody, I see your hand as well.
Now, as far as the video, if it was on MLS, would that transfer as well, or is that something?
So with the video, great question. It needs to be somewhere like a YouTube or a Vimeo, or if you have the copy of it on your hard drive, you can upload that video. Great question. Jody, go ahead.
I have a question about the lead form, because you had said that that's how we capture, like if we're going to do the digital open house or whatever. Do we need to add that on there too somewhere?
We're going to do that on a second one.
Sorry.
Nope, that's a great question. I did not forget that. I'm going to show you how to do it 2 different ways.
Okay.
Awesome. Any other questions before we move to actually configuring the widgets? Yes, Cassie, go ahead.
Why wouldn't lead form be on everything? Because we captured the information, correct, from the lead form?
I'm going to put a pin in that question, and when we do the second landing page, I'll walk you through that.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions before we go forward? Thumbs up, head nods, everybody good? Mm-hmm. All right. So now we're actually going to configure this. This means we are going to customize this so that we aren't in Austin, Texas anymore, that we are at Crossroads Way when we look at our listing. So we've got all of our widgets in, and what we're going to do is look in the very bottom right of the screen, and you are going to see a button that says Configure Widgets. We're going to click it because I've said configure widgets about 5 times, so you should have seen this coming. So we're going to go ahead and click on this button right here. Now it's going to open the things that need to be addressed. Here is my recommendation for you, just so that it's faster, easier, and smoother to work with. Instead of starting where they need you to make a correction, because you'll notice here with roll, mine is blank. So they're saying, hey, you got to fix that. We're just going to start at the first widget and work our way down. Notice it didn't start me at the listing because technically it already has a listing in there, right? It's got our dummy listing. So it thinks you could be done. We don't want to publish this and send this out to anybody with Hilltop View in Austin, right? So we're going to start at the top and just work our way all the way to the bottom to make sure everything is correct. So what you want to do is just look right up here at the top. So you'll see right now it's on the local expert one. And you've got two sets of arrows. One points backwards and one points forwards. Go ahead and click the left arrow next to your local expert, the backwards facing arrow, and here's why. When you do that, you're going to see a list of all of the widgets that you've added, and that will allow you to just start at the top and work your way to the bottom and make sure that all of your widgets are customized, including your market snap and your listing. Make sense to everybody? Okay, so I'm just going to start with branded header. We want to do this because we want to make sure everything's accurate, right? So here in branded header, you're going to notice a blank area under header text. Look for everything that has a red asterisk. This means it's required information to move forward. So header text, depending upon how you are using this, whether you are creating a generic landing page or you are creating an open house sign in, that's what's going to customize your header text. So if you are creating a generic landing page, and what I mean by generic is it does not have that lead form, that sign in option, you want to just put the address right in here. And you said it was Wesley Chapel, Jody?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I ran out of characters. Wesley Chapel's too long, so I'm just going to leave it as the street and house number. You do get a limit on characters, and that's because it doesn't want it to stretch all the way over and cover the other text. So I'm going to put the address in here. This is for a generic page. A use for a generic page, and Cassie, this goes to your question, is When you are sharing something on Facebook or you are sharing something via email to blast out to your database to say, hey, I've got a new listing at Crosswoods Way. Do you think that people getting that email or clicking on that on Facebook want to scroll past a sign-in block to see the information about the listing? Probably not. They don't want to feel like they're being forced to sign in just to see what you are sending them. So when you are utilizing a landing page for something like social media or via email, we want to leave that lead form off. When we do it for an open house, I'm going to show you how to change this header text for that sign in. Everybody tracking on that? So we're just going to name it by the address so that when we share this with people, they know exactly where this property is. The rest of this information, remember, is pulling from my marketing profile. So it's already in here. I don't have to worry about it. So I'm just going to scroll through, make sure everything's complete, and I'm going to get to the bottom and hit save and apply. Always make sure you are saving as you work through this system so that all of your work doesn't disappear. That would not be great. So we're going to hit save and apply, and now it's updated. So you'll see right here the header text. So we're just going to use the forward arrow at the top now. Remember, the backwards facing arrow shows you the list of all of your widgets. The forward facing arrow takes you to the next one to edit. So this just saves you from having to hit the back button, click on it over and over. So we're just going to go to widget 2 of 5 now. So you'll see I've got 5 widgets. I know exactly where I am in the editing process. And I'm going to go to 2 of 5. Everybody good? Okay. Now we're going to pick out our listing. So remember, we got to get rid of Hilltop View. We've got to keep this in Wesley Chapel where Jody can actually drive to and do an open house. So very, very simple. We're going to hit Browse Listings. And it's going to slide out the KWLS. Now, just like with the MLS, you want to use the KWLS very, very similarly. You do not have to put in the complete address. In fact, sometimes that messes with it. So I'm just going to put in 31812 Crosswoods, and I'm going to hit the search button because we have to find it, right? Obviously, it's not my listing. It's not going to be Jody's if she's hosting it for another agent. And we're pulling listings from all over. You'll notice here Iowa City pops up. Wherever Coralville is, these all look like Iowa. Remember, this is nationwide IDX. So we can pull listings from anywhere in the country, which means you could do one of these listing landing pages for your best friend in Milwaukee who's moving and put that out on social media as well. So you have the option to pull those listings in. So we're just going to put the house number in the street and hit this search box. And here's what's going to pop up. It's going to pull up anything that matches within reason. Typically, if it is the exact address, it's always going to show up in the top left. Jody, can you confirm that this is Katrina's listing?
It is.
Awesome. So we know we've got the right listing. A good rule of thumb, if you see the exact address 2 or 3 times, that means it's been sold 2 or 3 times, right? Always make sure you're looking for the listing agent and the list date so you know you have the most recent. So we're just going to hit our select button right here so that this system knows this is the listing that we want to use. So now what's going to ask us to do is pick the photo that we want to show up right here. Because with MLS, we know that it's got to be the front of the house, right? They say it's got to be a picture of the front of the house. But maybe the house, like this one, has an amazing deck and pool space that you'd like highlighted. You can choose that when you work within this system. So you'll see right here a from listing option. Notice all of the photos are automatically pulling from the MLS. I didn't have to do anything special within here. I can upload my own picture if I want to, but if we're talking about easy button, we're going to use what comes over, right? So I'm just going to select. I'm going to leave it at the front of the house, and I'm just going to come to the bottom and hit save and apply. Remember, you won't see it reflected over here in your widget until you save and apply it. And then it'll refresh. There's my listing automatically slotted in, and it looks great, right? I've got my pictures here, all of the information pulling from the MLS about the property. All of the photos show up right down here. I didn't have to do anything extra there, as well as all of the details and the map. So I'm essentially done with the listing spot, right? Everything's where it's supposed to be. So we're just going to move to widget 3 of 5, and we're going to use that forward facing arrow in the top right to come to the next widget. Everybody good so far on the listing? This is super easy, right? It's amazing. So the next thing we're going to do is get the information here so we have the active and sold statistics for this particular neighborhood. Now, Jody, you may not know this, and that's okay. If you don't, we're gonna wing it.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna put Wesley Chapel. Here's a good way to think about it. Notice how this says Barton Hills neighborhood trends. Just replace Barton Hills with whatever neighborhood the listing is in. So you'll notice I typed in Wesley Chapel neighborhood trends just to keep it consistent. That'll always make sure that you have something to put in that area. Cassie, go ahead.
Now on MLS, I noticed that it did say Meadow Point. Can we put that in if we read it from MLS?
Sure. Apparently Cassie's doing extra work in the background. I'm not mad about it.
Oh, I know Meadow Point. So.
Oh, she know. Well, never mind. So we're going to do Meadow Point neighborhood trends. Cassie, thank you. That's helpful. And now we're going to put in the postal code. Now, if you don't remember what the zip code is, guess where it shows up? Right here in the listing. So I don't have to go ask Jody what the zip code is or look it up myself. I can see it right here in the listing information, which is 33543. Now, once you do that, it may take a second, but you will notice now I can click on neighborhood. And look what has automatically shown up here for me. A list of neighborhoods within that zip code. We are partnered exclusively with Nextdoor.com, which means all of the neighborhoods that they have in their system, we have access to. So remember, if you aren't familiar with Nextdoor or you haven't used it in a while, Nextdoor is an online service that allows people to create communities for their own neighborhoods. You can only be active in those groups if you live within the neighborhood, which means the people that live there are the people that are saying, these are the lines of our neighborhood. So for the most part, they're pretty accurate. Now you will find some that aren't perfectly accurate, especially if it is in a fastly developing area. So we see it all the time here in our market center. We have a lot of agents that do business in West Chase, for example. West Chase used to just be West Chase. Now West Chase, because of the amount of development out there, has a lot of different neighborhoods within the West Chase umbrella. So you may not see some of those smaller, newer neighborhoods. That's okay. Remember, you can still do West Chase. So just keep that in mind. If you are looking for something specific and you don't see it, it's more than likely because Nextdoor does not have those specific neighborhoods separated yet. They have over 6,000. So the likelihood of that happening is pretty small. It just happens to be a recurring thing that we hear in our Tampa Market Center because we are, you know, a block away from West Chase. So I'm just going to scroll down here and I see Meadow Point right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and select it. And I'm going to do save and apply. Remember, it's going to update. I'm just going to scroll down. Here's my new neighborhood on the map. And here's all the stats for it. So it shows right up immediately. I didn't have to do anything special there, right? It automatically knows it for me. We don't need you to know everything about the individual markets of all 6,000 Nextdoor neighborhoods or the MLS. We don't need you to be complete experts. We're doing it for you. That's your easy button. Any questions on this before we move to the next widget? Jody, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Let me see. Okay, it's actually Meadow Point 2.
Meadow Point
2. Meadow Point and a Meadow Point 2. So I know you're not going to use it later on, but just to point out, you have to pay attention when you do that for everybody and make sure that you grab the right one, because sometimes it's like one off.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know this area, and Cassie said Meadow Point, so that's what we went with. So thank you for the clarity. I appreciate that. So we're going to move to our next widget. Remember, we're using the forward button at the top, and we're going to step 4 of 5 widgets. And this is the local expert area. Remember, you're always looking for red asterisk information. My role doesn't have anything in it, so I'm just going to type in DAS, that is Director of Agent Services. So I'm going to keep going down, and you'll see some other blanks. I am going to just type in a dummy app URL because I guess I don't have that in my marketing profile. So I just learned something new that I need to update. So if you do not have this populating from your marketing profile and you're not sure where to find it, just let me know and I can help you with that after. So I'm just going to put in a dummy URL in here, app.kw.com. That is what it looks like. It just has a special code attached to it for every person. And then I'm just going to hit save and apply. My bio is significantly too long. That's great. Pop it right out. The nice thing is it's going to tell you where you have errors so that you can correct them. Save and apply. And then we're good. It'll update once again. I can scroll down to take a look at the widget and make sure everything looks correct. And then we're down to our last widget, which is the legal footer. If you have this filled in your marketing profile, you more than likely will not have any changes to make here. And then we hit save and apply. If you want to verify that every widget has been completed, maybe you are in the middle of cooking lunch, right? You start this, you get up, you stir your pasta, you forget where you were. You can always hit this back-facing arrow. Remember, that's where we got to our list of widgets. When we click on that, notice we have blue check boxes next to everything. Blue check boxes means you are good to go and you are ready to move to the next step. And then we would simply hit our done button. Jeanette, go ahead with your question. You are muted.
There we go. Link to download the app. Where do I find that again? Did you cover that? And I was in space.
I did not. If we have some time at the end, I'll show you guys how to find that, or you can send me a quick email or check in with Taylor and we can make sure you know how to get that.
Okay, I'll find it. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll probably have a few minutes, so I should be able to show that to you. All right, any questions on the actual landing page itself, the construction of it, how it works? It's awesome, it's easy, it's fast, right? Like I just taught this to you and had to explain every button, and I'm gonna show you how to do the open house sign-in one next, and it's gonna take me that 5 minutes because Command is the 5-minute miracle. So now we're done. Everything's been set up. So we've got our 2 buttons up here in the very top right, save, which is going to save our draft, or publish. If you cannot click on publish, meaning this is a gray button, it's because you do not have blue check marks next to all of your widgets. It will not allow you to publish your page, which is to make it live, to turn it on and give it that green is go button. It will not allow you to do that if you do not have all of your widgets completely configured. Make sense? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit publish. Once you do that, it's going to say, do you want to publish this? This will make it visible to others. We want to click yes, because we want this website to be live, right? We want to be able to use it. Now you'll notice up here at the top, when I come back to my dashboard, this landing page is first, which is great. Makes it easy for me to find right now. I could sort alphabetically or sort by the date I created it, but it will be in order chronologically. I'm going to click on this URL and show you what it looks like, because it's real nice. It looks beautiful and professional and clean. And you know what's even better? It looks beautiful on mobile too. So that means when you send this URL, remember this is a custom URL that works specifically for this landing page. If I were to click on the one below it, you'll see what I mean. Here's one for San Jose Street. It looks completely different listing, right? When you share this URL, whether you type up an email to your database, and Tammy's the first one in my list of agents, so we're going to use Tammy as an example. Tammy opens up her command and she either uses a smart plan or she sends a direct email out from her inbox that says, I just put Crosswoods Way on the market. Who do you know who'd love to live in this amazing community? Click this link to look at all of the photos and information about the property, blah, blah, blah. Whatever verbiage she wants to use. she's got a special link that will do that, that will take her visitors right here. This is the link that you want to use when you are doing Facebook, email, or if you share it with someone via text. Because remember, this is going to open it up to the listing for them immediately. They don't have to scroll through and move past an open house sign-in form. They don't have to see any of that information. It just immediately takes them to the listing. And it looks great, regardless of if they are on mobile or they are on desktop view like this. Cassie?
Now, will we know that they looked at it, even though we didn't bring them to the page to fill out their info? We won't
It's not going to show you like hits or anything like that. The idea is if you're sharing it with somebody on your personal Facebook or business Facebook or your email, right? You already have a relationship with them.
Yeah.
The reason I clicked on this specific listing here is so that you can see what it looks like when it is used for an open house. It says, please sign in, right? They are not going to want to do that. Even if we change it to say, please sign in to, you know, do you have any questions? Things like that. What we know about psychology of people and how they look at sales, if this is the first thing that they see, it's going to cut their interest a lot quicker than if this is the first thing that they see, right? So I'm going to show you how to actually set this up now for an open house, and it'll be fast and furious because it's quick, right? You saw how quick and easy it actually is to customize these widgets. Because we are in an era when speed to lead is important, right? The faster you respond to somebody and the faster you follow up with them, the more likely they are to use you. There are so many realtors in the state of Florida that you can sneeze and spit on 3 of them, right? So wear your mask. We want to make sure that you are speed to lead. So doing it this way with a sign-in box right here on your landing page, do you know what happens when they sign in that way? They immediately,
Kelly.
Say again?
Go into your command.
Kelly.
Both, yeah. They immediately go right into your database. If you've been around a little bit longer, you've probably done an open house and maybe you've done it with a paper sign-in sheet. And they write their name and their phone number and their email on it. And you do your open house on a Saturday and you say, I'm going to go to the office on Monday morning and I'm going to put these people in my database. And if you're anything like me on Monday morning, you've either forgotten or lost the sheet of paper. And then you find it on Thursday. And then you finally put them into your database and you put them on a smart plan, but you don't call them for another week. And then you say, hey, this is Tammy. You walked into my open house 17 days ago. I'm just following up. And they're like, oh, we already put in an offer on another house in that neighborhood because for every house that goes on the market in the Tampa area right now, 2 of them are selling. So speed to lead, right? We want to get them into our database fast because, and this is a separate class, this is a plug, I teach that one too. There's already an open house follow-up smart plan pre-written for you to immediately put them on when they're in your database. So we're going to go through this quickly. I'm going to show you how this works. And then if you have questions, I will answer them. And then if we still have a few minutes, I'll show you how to find your mobile app URL. Sound good? Nods, thumbs up, everybody good? Awesome, okay. So I'm going to hit create a new site, standalone page, and create. I've got my blank template here, right? I'm going to put my, oops. What is it? 32, 38, 31. I can't read. All right. I'm going to put this right in here. And I'm just going to type OH at the back of it. Do you want to guess what OH stands for? You'll get it in one. It's open house. I'm going to do my widgets, branded header, my listing. I'm not going to do the market snap on this one just so that we can do it a little faster, right? We don't need to worry about that. I'm just going to show you with these 2 widgets. You can put as many as you want on them. I just want you to see these 2. The important one, the 3rd widget that you need to do when you are using it as a digital open house sign-in sheet is the lead form. Now it's going to say lead form, but we're going to use it as a sign-in. And we're going to update this right here to where it says interested, let's talk. We're going to make it say, please sign in, or welcome to the open house at Crosswoods Way. We're going to update that verbiage so that when our guests walk into our open house and we've got our technology sitting in front of them, they're putting their information in right here instead of having to have that wet signed piece of paper that we lose until Thursday, right? So we've got our widgets in there, our branded header widget. You could move this down underneath it. That's preference to you. I like it at the top. I think it looks clean. Our lead form, you want to make sure that this is at the very top when you are using it for an open house. And then of course our listing information here. And we're going to do configure widgets once we have them all in there. Remember, we're going to start with our list, check on your branded header. We're going to put our address in here again. Make sure we don't have any blanks, save and apply. And we're going to move to our next widget. And this is the lead form. Notice the only option they give you to change is where it says form header text. That is right here where it says interested, let's talk. Roseanne, can you explain what you mean about the top? I'm happy to answer the question. I'm just not sure what you're asking. And if you need to type it in chat, I'll come back to the chat window here in just a second. So we're going to update this to where it says something specific. We're going to give them a call to action. What's a call to action, guys? Ladies and gentlemen. Eduardo's on the call. A call to action is
call now.
That's one of them. That's absolutely an example. A call to action is an actionable item that we want them to do, like call now, click here, visit us. Those are verbs, right? They're things that they are doing. So we want them to sign in. We are giving them an actionable item, right? So we are going to say, please sign in for open house. And I'm just going to put the address in. And I'm going to hit save and apply. So now when they come to your open house and you have this sitting on your iPad or your laptop or tablet, this is what they see and they know what they're doing. They are signing in for an open house. You should be greeting them at the door, right? Introducing yourself, explaining what you're doing here. You know, the sellers of the home like to know who is in their home. We'd like your feedback. We'd like to be able to follow up with you on it. Are you working with an agent? All of those questions that you would do at an open house, you can have verbally, but you want to make sure they know what they're doing in here. Please sign in for open house. That way they're not a little bit weird about it and they're like, I don't want to put my information in anything, right? Some people may still prefer to write it down. You will get people like that and that's okay. But the majority of people are going to know that they're signing in for the open house, so they're putting their information in. And if they've been to more than one open house, they're familiar with the signing in at this point, right? So save and apply, move to your next widget, which is your listing. I'm just going to pop that right in. I'm going to select it. I'm just going to, let's pick a different picture here for fun. There we go. So you'll see I've got my listing in here and now I'm ready to publish it because I've customized all of my widgets. So now I have two of them here, Crosswoods Way and Open House. So when I click on Open House, notice that it looks a little bit different than the original landing page. This is so that they see this first. You can explain to them, please sign in for this open house. This, you know, use all of your verbiage and all of your scripts, and you can tell them, you know, please feel free to scroll through these photos. There's information about the market here with what's going on in this neighborhood, other information about the property. You can have this printed if you'd like. A cool thing that you can do, pro tip, is instead of having a printed flyer, you can tell them that you will send this to them via text so that they have it. This is the one you send. Instead of them signing in for open house, you send just the one with the information about the listing. Does that make sense to everybody? Are you tracking on that? Okay. Roseanne, so let me see here. I see that you typed in chat. Let me get to the question. So the lead form is just a widget to your question. This right here is just one of the widgets that you can customize. So we put that at the top for an open house. So that's the first thing that they see. So when they walk in, you can have them sign in immediately. Dave, no, that is directly pulled from the MLS. You do not have the ability to shorten it. He was asking if you can update the MLS copy. You cannot do that for MLS purposes. They own that data. It cannot be edited. So just to reiterate, when you are sending this for social media, for email, for text, make sure that you utilize the landing page that does not have a sign-in sheet. At your open houses, use the lead form at the top. Everybody got that? Okay. When they sign in, when they put their information in here, you know, Tammy Solis, vetkw.com, etc. Tammy, you're just my guinea pig. You're on the top. I will see here in this leads column, it will say 1, it will say 12, it will say 45. If you have a super busy open house, it will say that. Here's the cool thing. We like easy buttons, right? I keep using that expression, easy button, easy button, easy button. When you click on this, where do you think it takes you? To your database. Remember, when they use this form here, it automatically puts them right into your contacts database. So it will take you directly to the database with a specific search filter already on. So it will show you only the people that signed in on that landing page. So you don't even have to look for them. Is that not cool? Easy button, easy button, easy button. And then you know what you get to do from there. You get to tag them that you met them at an open house, that they're a lead. And you get to put them on a smart plan that will walk them through the follow-up. So it'll send them those emails. It'll send you the reminders to call. If you use Twilio, it will send them the text messages automated instead of the reminders. So you can actually utilize the system and automate your open houses in a way that you aren't able to do if you're doing everything on paper. Paper sign-in sheets and paper flyers are passé, and we know they pass them to the trash very shortly thereafter, right? So utilize this and it will absolutely give you that speed to lead piece that you need to make sure you're converting buyers. Any questions?
No, it's amazing. And you're an awesome teacher. Thank you.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate that. All right. It's exactly 12 o'clock. Gary's mastermind is starting right now. I'm going to show you quickly how to find that URL for your mobile app. If you want to jump off and get on Gary's mastermind, which I recommend, feel free to do that. You can always send me an email or get with your agent services. They'll be able to help you find that. I'm going to stay on for just a minute and show you how to find that URL so that you know how to get to it. And we're going to do that right through consumer. And if you're looking for the link for Gary's mastermind, by the way, you'll find that right on Ubaldini training. The materials are there as well.
Thank you, Amber.
You're welcome. So we're going to come back to this consumer tab right here. And what we're going to look for is where it says site and app settings. They make it super easy. You got a URLs tab right here. So we're going to click on URLs. You're going to see your website address and your app website address right here. All you have to do is hit that copy button and then paste it right into either your text message or your marketing profile, wherever it requires it. It always lives right in here under site and app settings and URLs.
Can you do that one more time?
Sure. It's all right. I know where the button
down
is.
at the bottom. Okay.
So we're going to start with consumer. Remember, this is where all the website stuff is, app stuff. So go to consumer. Yeah. And then you're looking for site and app settings right up here at the top.
Okay.
And then URL.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any final questions before I let y'all go?
Thank you so much. You are a very good teacher. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate hearing that. It's nice to hear.
Thank you, Amber.
You're welcome. All right. Have a good day, y'all. Go ahead and jump on Gary's mastermind. He's amazing.